after I graduated college, in the process of looking for work, I said to myself, wait a minute, I learned everything that ESPN is doing. I was on air, I know how to edit. Why not just put a show on together with my friends that I'm always debating with?
Who are your top 4 centers in NBA history all time?
Damn, you're putting me on the spot.
Absolutely.
I know we said no honorary mention, but the one honorary mention I'm going to give is to Wilt Chamberlain. He was a 2-time NBA champion. He was a 1-time Finals MVP, 4-time MVP, 13-time All-Star.
Travis, who's now flipping to Patrick Mahomes' argument.
Oh, man.
Travis is
don't do that, man.
Yeah, I got to call you out.
These are my goats. So, starting off, I'm going with the Miz. In my opinion, I think.
I'm out of here, bro.
In my opinion, I think.
Calm. Control your man.
Can we listen? Can I speak? Can we listen? Can I speak?
Ladies and gentlemen, it is the best part of your Tuesday. That is right. We are here for the Fan Zone. Now, yes, I am by myself to start the show, which is okay. I wanted to take out a page out of our EP Carl Coulange's book and get to talk to you a little. So, if you get a chance, it's time to have a seat, open your books, and it's story time. And my story is about a team in the NFL that just don't look good. That's right. I'm talking about the New York Jets. Another abysmal performance. They should not even have shown up. They might have actually done a little better, maybe. Just did not look good. They had a week. And I don't know how else to describe it but that. You see, I've been a Jets fan for many years. I've been through many different quarterbacks, many different players, on the field issues, off the field issues. I even remember DeBrickashaw Ferguson. That makes a lot of fans laugh. But what I saw on Sunday, I didn't see any heart. Now, I saw it from some players. Shout out to Mike White. I can tell you nothing about him before I saw him on Sunday. But he tried. So salutes to you for trying, but I just don't know. And listen, some of my contributors are going to come on today and they're going to say they're young, got to give them time. I understand that. But by week 6, I would have thought they would have had a little bit of a better meshing. They don't know how to utilize Elijah Moore, having him running. It's not clicking. And we go, and now we lose a draft pick to bring back someone that we could have re-signed for cheap in the offseason that I had stated, why are we not bringing him back? We need a veteran presence. And whoa, 6 weeks in, holy moly, they finally said, you know what? I think we need a veteran presence. No shit, Sherlock. You should have had it from week 1. Because now you put the pressure on this kid, and that's what he is essentially, to perform in a New York media outlet that will crucify you. Look what they do to Danny Pennies. They either praise him or they dump him. And they do the same to Zach Wilson. And for a kid getting into the league, you threw him to a pack of wolves with a backup like Mike White and telling him, you know what? Take care of it. So we bring back Joey Flacco. You could have brought back and you could have brought on the team Shane Falco from the replacements. It's not going to change anything. Go against the Bengals. Burrow's going to rip apart that secondary. And who knows what that secondary is going to look like come the trade deadline. It's just tough. It's tough. And I know a lot of contributors are going to say, a lot of fans are going to say, oh, it's emotional Mike again. You're damn right. It's emotional Mike. Because at the end of the day, us fans, it's what it's about. We put our hearts out there. We pay for merchandise. We wear it with pride, win or lose. We walk around and we actually admit that we're fans of specific teams. I feel bad for Pittsburgh Pirate fans because they have to do that these days. But I know how it feels. So I want to say welcome to the Fan Zone. We have a great show for you today. My co-host, Manny Manos, is going to be on. He had something to take care of real fast. So I said, you know what? I'll get my venting out early. I'll get my emotions out early. We had some great football. We had some not so great football. But I have to tell you, the end of October, it's the best time of the year. And it's not just the best time of the year because we got football, but it's the best time of the year because we got football. We got World Series baseball. Hockey is back. And so is basketball. My Knicks, Carl, be careful. They look pretty good. But with that being said, today we are going to bring in our hockey contributors later on to discuss hockey is back. And we have everything at our fingertips. Every night I can turn on a different game. And it feels damn good. Because that's what it's all about as a fan. Your team sucks, flip the channel. There's got to be a good game on there. It's got to be something. I'm doing well in fantasy. I have to give a shout out to my co-host Manny, who's leading in NFL picks. Shout out to the NFL crew on Sundays. But Travis, Paul, get your shit together. You guys are losing. Terrible. Terrible. But I want to go into it right now. Hockey is back. My Rangers look good. The Rangers look good. The Islanders looking okay. We have our contributors coming in a few minutes. They're on their way in now to talk some hockey. I actually want to hear what they think about release the Kraken, to see how they're feeling the Kraken are doing so far. So with that being said, I'm going to let my contributors kind of come on in. And I want to hear from you. I want to hear from you, the fans, because we had a great, great week in sports. But there's also been some issues with fans again. Look what happened to Rajon Rondo. Got hit by a fan, inbounding the ball. You had AD and Dwight forgetting that they're on the same team fighting each other instead of playing defense against the other team. It's great because that means sports are back. And with that being said, my Bash brother himself, Manny Manos, is in the building and slipping in Jesus himself. Michael Sparacino, how are you, brother?
I'm doing good, Matt. This is going to make you a little bit proud. Look at my coffee mug.
And this will make you even more proud. I'm rocking it too. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. That's a selfless plug to St. Francis College. I don't know what's going on with Manny. He's frozen. I think he got put in the penalty box, so we'll be able to talk to him. But Mike, welcome. You are our top, you and Charlie and Andrew, you guys are our top hockey contributors. You've been on every show with hockey. And we needed you to come on because I got vetoed last week. Manny vetoed me last week. He was like, no, we can't do hockey yet because, it's the first game of the season for basketball on that Tuesday night. You got to go with what people like. And I said, you don't know what you're talking about. Hockey is one of the best sports. He went, no, we get them next week. And I said, you bet your ass we're getting them next week. And we're going to make sure that they're on for the whole damn show. So with that being said, Charlie, welcome. Welcome.
Oh, what's up?
Oh, I am so happy you are here. But Mike, Charlie's already done this for us. But as every new fan that enters the fan zone, who you repping? Who are your teams that you rep?
Yo.
Oh, there's Manny.
What's going on, gentlemen? Sorry for
What's
the late
up?
introduction. Mike, welcome to the show.
Thank you,
Appreciate
Manny.
having you on right now, representing Hockey Nation, Rangers all day. Chuck, appreciate you coming on.
Thank
Shout
you.
out to Mike's rant earlier. I enjoyed that one. But as you can see behind me is the penalty box where if I ever played hockey and actually learned how to skate, I'll probably be in there the entire time. It's like my idol, Happy Gilmore, used to say, you ever had I led the league in trying to stab somebody with a hockey. Well, what was it? With his skate? He tried to stab the referee or the goalie?
Yes, he tried to get him with a skate. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. That's probably going to be me too. Anyways, Mike, by all means, the floor is yours.
Well, Mike, thank you, Manny. To answer your question, Mike, the shirt-wise, I'm not repping a sports team right now, but my teams are, as you know very well, New York Rangers, and unfortunately the Jets, like you said in the intro before. But hey, this is what I have to say about being a Jets fan. If you stick with the team through the worst of times, the best of times are that much better.
But the only question is, will the best of times be when I'm 80 and my children are walking me in a wheelchair? That's my issues with that.
Hey, man, eventually the good times will come back. I mean,
I hope
the
so.
last time the Jets were in the playoffs, they made 2 AFC championship games in back-to-back years. So
Okay, I'm taking your word for it.
leave a little hope in the back of the mind. You can't be negative all the time, no matter how bad things get.
Okay. So you said the Rangers, you said the Jets. You got any baseball or basketball?
Baseball, no. Basketball, I was a Lakers fan. Then I kind of fell out after Kobe retired, just kind of lost interest.
Okay. So I'm going to ask you before we go over to our other fan in the zone today, Mr. Charlie Baldy. What is your favorite childhood memory of any sport?
I got probably. I'm actually going to go with basketball because before I even got into hockey, like I was Lakers like all day. And I got to say probably 2010 Game 7 against the Celtics. Sorry, Carl. Just
You don't got to apologize, Mike. Don't ever apologize to Carl. Just remember that.
noted. No, but just it was a different league even 10 years ago. Just that series in particular was just very close-knit, 2 very good, well-built teams with a lot of depth, and it's just really good Game 7. Overall, great series, and just the fact that we were able to hold on those last couple seconds just made it feel that much sweeter, especially because we lost to them 2 years earlier, and then to win back-to-back ones, it was fantastic.
Awesome. Now, Charlie, I know we've spoken about your teams in the past, and I know you're going to give us your soliloquy and your epilogue about the Islanders and the amazing things and maybe not the non so amazing things about them. But before we get into that, and as you see, Manny is pointing to you to go to the penalty box for that. But with that being said, what is your favorite childhood memory? And I know we spoke about some of the things with your teams when you were last on, but I really want to know what your favorite childhood memory is.
Oh, that's tough. That's really tough. I mean, I guess the obvious answer, I guess, would be the 2009 World Series when the Yankees clinched it.
Okay.
obviously, because I mean, I watched the 2000 World Series, but I was only like 5 years old, so I didn't really have that, that fulling like concept of like everything that was going on. I mean, I still was happy that my team won, but it wasn't where 2009, where I was a little bit older, like I was a bigger fan of the team and whatnot. So I guess the obvious answer would be that, because that's the only time that I've seen my team win. I mean, the Knicks, we don't have to talk about them. We don't have to talk about the Jets.
We will.
And the Islanders.
We will.
And the Islanders are on the up and up, but I still haven't seen them win. So having the chance to see my team actually go out and win a world championship meant the world to me. So I'll go with that.
Excellent, excellent. So as we are back, we are about a week and a half in, if I'm not mistaken on the timing. Hockey is back. To me, one of the greatest sports around because of the agility, the speed, the hard hitting, the accuracy. I can keep going on, but that's just watching the New York Rangers. Sorry, Chuck. With that being said, I want to get into some of your highs and lows that you've seen thus far from the NHL. Week and a half in. I'll start with you, Spare.
Well, I mean, it's a little bit weird right now because the Sabres started the season 4-0, while teams like Vegas, I think, started 1-4. I forgot to write this down, so I'm looking at the standings real quick. Vegas, yeah, they started 1-4. Chicago, look at how bad Chicago is. I mean, I knew they were a bad team, but I didn't think they were going to be bad to the extent that they've been. I mean, Edmonton being undefeated so far is a little surprising, especially considering how they choke every year. No offense to them. Pittsburgh, I think we have to bring them up. They're every year, I feel like there's like 15 guys injured and they play well and win. That I think that just goes to show you they have a very good coaching staff over there. And Florida, 6-0.
Yeah.
That's
I just want to jump in for a second with what you said about Pittsburgh. I've actually, and with Sullivan, I mean, what can you say about him? He's amazing. He always has been, right? He's been, I've wanted him as a Rangers coach since day one. And then we passed on him. We thought we needed a veteran, and look what he was doing with Pittsburgh. He's done that for years now. And that's why I think Pittsburgh is always so competitive. They have veteran and even their young players. It's the line matchups. If you notice, he is one of the quickest coaches to flip a line in a game. I've never seen it so quick. If he sees in one shift you are not gelling, he is changing up those lineups. And that's why they were always so successful. I mean, it doesn't hurt when you have a Malkin and a Crosby on your team, and even a Hags when he got on the, having these type of players and even having Marc-Andre Fleury as your goalie for most of it, it doesn't hurt. But with that being said, there's a lot that is still in there. Like, it amazes me. He should be coach of the year almost every year, but he's not.
Yeah. Hey, man. I mean, look, like you said, you wanted him coach of the Rangers. He was an assistant coach under Tortorella. He was actually an assistant when he first arrived in Pittsburgh, and then stuff happens. People got fired. He took over. The team wins 2 cups in a row. So as much as I hate the Penguins, you can't deny 2 cups in a row. There's no luck involved. That's pure skill, work ethic, and a championship mindset. So, like I just said, as much as I hate them, I got to give them credit because they're winners. And also, I just want to point out the TNT coverage has been fantastic. It has been so entertaining, man. Biz has been awesome. Gretzky just like poking shots at Biz is extremely entertaining. Everyone on Twitter just going after Biz after Gretzky roasts him is such a fun time. And dude, Charles Barkley in a Wayne Gretzky shootout, on their TNT debut with hockey coming back.
Hilarious.
You can't beat it, man. That was awesome. Just so fun to watch.
Especially going against Gretzky. Especially, there was one clip, and it might have been opening night, where he actually turns around and he goes, "Did you just get beat up by a guy with a perm?" And he was roasting Gretzky. He was just roasting him. And I was like, this is what TV's all about. This is why I like watching Monday Night Football with Eli and Peyton Manning, because there's a different dynamic that is needed. You know, some people, like someone like Carl, is like, I don't really follow hockey, or I only watch the Islanders here and there, and I'm not really familiar with it. Having Charles Barkley in there is a different dynamic. It's building on a new fan base, because it's showing that even on TNT, when you have NBA on TNT, now you have the NHL on TNT, and bringing in that dynamic that he's always being roasted by Shaq, right? He's always that person that is like a Carl Coulange, in the sense that he will get roasted just for clicks, right? He will do things for clicks. And Carl has said it. He will put himself in a situation to get roasted just to get clicks, right? Just to get a fan base. So Charles Barkley is the same way. No, Carl, I am not trying to compare you to Charles Barkley, so don't. But I'm just saying it's the similarities between that. So having that new dynamic is phenomenal. Chuck, what have you seen so far?
Well, you guys stole one of my good things, which was the move from NBC over to ESPN and TNT. I think it's been great exposure for the game. Like you guys said, the TNT coverage is fantastic. I think being on ESPN Plus, where, you're able to watch hundreds of games for only paying, I think, what is it, like $6 a month? You really can't beat that at all. So that extra exposure that they've been getting this year has been big. The second good thing I wanted to mention was it seems so far that Seattle has been another home run expansion team. They had their first home game the other night. Electric. Just like Vegas was, that arena was popping. They have a great fan base. So shout out to the NHL for picking two cities so far and having support. And we're seeing that with the Coyotes now, where, it doesn't look like they have the support. So picking two cities where they have a good following is really big for the game. Two bad things I wanted to look at for the lows, and I'm not going to get into teams too much because Mike covered that, but two stories. The Jack Eichel thing is kind of annoying, and not just because he's on my fantasy hockey team, but you always want your superstar players to play, no matter what the sport is. So him being out with the injury and fighting with the team about what surgery he's going to get or what rehab he's going to get sucks. And it sucks that it's being dragged into the season. There's no resolution on if they're going to trade him or whatnot. So I think that's a low ball. And now they're saying he's going to file a grievance with the Players Association. So it looks like it's just going to get out of hand. And I think it's a black eye on the league. Another black eye, and is as recent as today, the problems with the Chicago Blackhawks, the sexual harassment, sexual assault, whatever you want to call it, that's very bad. And it's even more bad that it was covered up since 2010. So like, with Manny and John Gruden, that's a cover up of, 11 years, a decade plus, and how nobody came out and said anything. And now we learned today that, the coaches knew and players and whatnot, and nobody said a word is another bad thing. And there's no reason for sexual harassment or anything like that across any platform, no matter if it's sports, no matter where you are, it's just bad. And it looks really bad, but I'm glad that the evidence finally came to light, and now people are being held responsible. The Blackhawks general manager resigned. Some other dude resigned. I forgot what his role was. But as of right now, nobody in that upper administration role from the 2010 team is no longer in the NHL. And now we got to see what's going to happen with guys like Quinville and Cheveldayoff, and I forgot who else. We're going to see what.
Wasn't Powell on it?
Yeah, but I don't think they're going to come after the players, because it was more of a staff thing rather than the players. And then they're going to have to go through the Players Association to suspend or whatnot. So I don't think anything's going to happen to the players. So we'll see what happens. And it sucks because it happened during a time when they went on to win the cup. So such a great feat. And it began, that kind of like semi-dynasty run. And it's just a bad light on a good thing.
So you bring up a good point, and don't worry, I'm still waiting on you, Manny, for your take on hockey. So we'll get to it. I see you're biting your lip. You're ready to speak about it. I know.
I mean, I've been waiting patiently.
So I want to get into with the sexual harassment from 2010. They ended up winning the cup, right? Do we think that now has an asterisk? Now it's not anything like the Astros with banging, stealing signs and stuff like that, but it is an organizational decision, hidden. It was a decision made by an organization. And yes, the players shouldn't be held accountable if they weren't involved, but they're still run by an organization, right? And as we always say, it starts from the top. So with that being said, do we take their name off the cup? Do we take away that feat where nobody really thought they were going to win the Stanley Cup and turn around and say the Chicago Blackhawks are no longer Stanley Cup champions because of issues that were done by higher ups in the organization? Where does it end? And this is what I'm talking about, because we saw it in NFL. And this is, I'm going to go on a rant for a second here, because we saw it in the NFL being hidden and being covered up by higher ups with the Washington football team. We've seen it in the MLB where they were covering up, higher ups were covering it up when the Astros were stealing signs. They knew what was going on. And now we're seeing it with the Blackhawks. Where does it end? There needs to be accountability. And the accountability starts with organizations. And you're wearing that jersey each day as a player, technically that is an accountability. That is being a part of that organization, whether win, lose, or indifferent. Because at the end of the day, say we're in a profession and a scandal comes out. Aren't we considered a part of that? Right? So what happens now, and what is always going to be on the mind, that illustrious trophy that we always want our team to covet because it is the prettiest and the best trophy in my eyes in all of sports, because it just keeps growing with stature. What do we say now? Because you've hoisted that under pretenses of your organization doing sexual harassment, sexual assaults, despicable issues.
Mike, I'll chime in real quick. I mean, great rant you have, but again, it started with the organization. It was the staff that were doing it, not the players. So you can't put an asterisk on that because it was the players that played their hearts out while this whole thing was happening. And like we said, we don't know if the players knew about it, but from what we can tell based on the news, they didn't know. They were too busy playing this stuff. Obviously, the organization, the top heads, they need to be, I guess, penalized. And what's the one way you can hurt an organization? Draft picks, suspensions, stuff like that. Not of players, of them, or force them to resign. Either or. That's pretty much the only way you're gonna do it. And this whole thing with the Astros, with the cheating scandal and stuff, the Yankees and Red Sox got caught with it too. They were just as bad because they won the chip at the end of the day. So just to clear that up with everybody here. And I believe you said with the NFL, with the whole emails and all that stuff with Washington football team, Dan Snyder needs to be held accountable for everything at the end of the day. And apparently, I've been seeing reports that John Gruden advised HBO, one of the directors of HBO, that it's not over yet. There's going to be more to be exposed, and he will expose it. So, I mean, John Gruden, you're a piece of crap for what you said and did, whatever, and you're no longer part of the Raiders, but expose them. Expose the higher-ups of the NFL. Do it for the fans. Do it for the players. Do it for the for those that can't speak on it, that work in the organizations and stuff like that. Expose them all. So
and this question is for Chuck and Mike. When a team wins the Stanley Cup, right? We know that they put the members of that team's name on the Stanley Cup. Does that also mean managers and top heads?
Yeah, I think it's the whole staff.
That is where I have an issue. And not the players, but because they're still synonymous with the Stanley Cup. Do you understand what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
As a fan, it just makes my blood boil. But again, there have been many players that have won championships, and then we found out later that there were scenarios that they were in, whether they were sexual harassment, steroids, scandals, just regular scandals. So I guess I digress for now, but I want to hear, Mike, how do you feel about the whole Chicago situation?
Well, I actually pretty much agree full-heartedly with what Manny said. I mean, because when you brought the question up, like, should the entire team get the names taken off? No, because, I mean, you look at what the Astros did. They were legitimately cheating on the game itself. The Blackhawks situation, it was a situation between a player and an assistant coach that higher up management tried to cover up. So in that regard, no. But at the same time, if you take just the select few people involved in the incident and the people trying to cover it up, if you take their names off the cup, how much does that really do?
Right.
Like, how bad of a punishment is that? Because people are still going to know the guy was on the team and he helped them to win the championship. So there's got to be, I want to say, some type of middle ground. I just don't know what it is.
Yeah. It's a tough situation. Go ahead, Chuck.
Yeah, Mike. I don't think they should, forfeit the cup or have an asterisk, just because, what happened is, horrific, but it didn't have an effect on the games that were played.
Yeah, that's the point I was trying to make.
Yeah, and you don't want to take the achievement away from the guys who went to work every day and won. It's hard to win a championship. So how do you feel about those guys, who went to work every day, did what they had to do, kept their head down, and went out there and won the championship? So I think it's unfair to take it away. I think the only way to resolve it is like what Manny said. You hold the proper people accountable in which they're doing, and you look at fines and draft picks. They got fined $2 million. So I agree. You got to set a precedent, because then, it hopefully eliminates it in the future. And I think that was a good start by the NHL for what they did. But it's good to see, like I said, people, losing their jobs and leaving the organization, because it's terrible, and you want to try to eliminate that wherever.
Yeah.
So I think that's a good start. So I don't think they should, have, something, taken away from their championship, but it's definitely going to shed light on what happened during that run. And it will take away from the integrity of the championship, if that's a good way to put it. But I don't think they should lose the cup just because of what happened, even though it's horrible.
So Manny, we're all waiting with bated breath. We want to know your NHL analysis so far, a week and a half in. We know you're watching every single game. We know you're following along. So what's your analysis right now?
Go Rangers. That's all I have. Nah. I haven't really caught any games, unfortunately.
Okay.
But I am gonna start tuning into the TNT games. Obviously, when the Rangers play as well, I'm actually trying to go to at least one game this year. I know. Shout out to Andrew Vantage. He hit me up for a game, but I was like, I couldn't because I had to stay late for work, unfortunately. But I know Mike's been dying to go to a game, so
Right.
I mean, maybe Rangers Islanders. Chuck, pull up. Paul, pull up.
I'm ready.
Pull up. But I'm gonna tell y'all right now, if somehow the Islanders win, I'm throwing one of y'all on the ice. Like, I'm chucking you over. I don't care who it is, either you or Carl. One of y'all is getting on the ice. All right.
Who's lighter? Who's lighter to be thrown?
Well, listen,
I don't know.
I'm 6'1", 215, 220. So I think Carl's probably lighter than me.
Okay.
Let me get my step ladder so I can hit you in the knees so you can drop down to get to my level. All right. That's why my name is Bash Brother Manny. I'm the long lost brother of the Bash Brothers. All
I
right.
love it. The Mighty Ducks live. The Mighty Ducks live. So with that being said, I got to give a couple of things. Like I'm surprised how bad the Golden Knights are playing right now. They're 1-4. They just have not looked good. Even when they played the Kraken, they came out strong in the first period and then they kind of like just sat back. The Avalanche, a lot of these teams that are supposed to be Stanley Cup favorites are underperforming right now. And I don't know what it is. There's no real time difference anymore. They're back to some normalcy. So you can't say that they're playing in one stadium, over and over again. But it's some of these teams, like even Toronto. Toronto is 2-4. Montreal is 0-5. Like these are teams that if you went 2 years back or even last year, we're like the upper top of the division that the Rangers and even Islanders at times were looking up at, wondering if they would be able to beat them. And now it's shifted, which I love. You got someone like the Blues that are 5-0, which is great. You got Florida, as Mike had pointed out, that is, playing well. So it's great to see the difference in how things can change. I hope it continues that way because I actually want to see new people in the Stanley Cup. I'm hoping it's the Rangers, but I know I'm not going to hold my breath on that. But with that being said, I like the dynamic that we have right now because every game is exciting. Like for me, I watched the Ranger Montreal game on Saturday, the day game, and we were down 2-0 in the third period. And in the past, and I think you can agree with me on this, going down 2-0 with 18 minutes left in the third, I turned around and said, this game's over. We lost. Because I thought, okay, maybe we'll score a goal, make it 2-1, and then lose 3-1 on an empty netter. But then all of a sudden, within 3 to 4 minutes, I turn around and it's 3-2 Rangers. And it showed that there's a new grit, there's a new fire, and who knows, we can make some noise. I missed Booch, but this kid Sammy Blaze is doing well. I like it. So I want to hear an analysis from you and Chuck on both your teams. Obviously, I will let our competitor Chuck go first in regards to his Islander analysis.
Mike, just real quick. You said Ottawa on Saturday. I mean, you said Montreal on Saturday. It was Ottawa.
Ottawa, thank you. It's all those Canadian teams are together, red and white.
Well, speaking of my Isles, they opened the season 13-game road trip because the arena is not finished yet, and I blame Manny. But they're also another team that that's like one of the Cup favorites that started out slow, and I think we're seeing teams started out slow because they've played so much hockey recently. Like you forget, because of COVID, we had the pause, and then they came back for that playoff tournament or whatever. Then they started a new season. And then they only had a couple, so they haven't had that, that full off season. I think we're starting to see the remnants of it starting to wear down teams, getting off the slow starts. Tampa's been dreadful too. They're another team. So I think that's what we're starting to see. But the Islanders had 2 big wins this past weekend against Arizona and Vegas, 2 shutouts. So it looks like they're starting to turn things around. The only bad thing that I have to say about them is I was a little upset with replacing both Eberle and Leddy. Now, I'm not upset that, one went to Seattle and the other got traded, but it's who they filled it with. Mm-hmm. I think Kyle Palmieri is a solid player, but I would have rather looked somewhere else for a first-line winger, a.k.a. Vladimir Tarasenko, who's looked phenomenal coming off 3 shoulder surgeries. I would have loved to have him on the first line. And they replaced Leddy with Zdeno Chara, who is a great story. Loved Chara's whole career. Started out with the Islanders, but the guy's 44 and he's looked absolutely terrible, and it's costing them. I know. The guy's 6'9", so whoever gave him a pair of skates instead of a basketball messed up big time. But But you know what? Other than that, I mean, I look at the team as a whole. They could roll 4 lines out. They're great defensively. They have a great head coach, and they play the type of hockey that you need in the playoffs, and that's all that matters. As long as they can get in the playoffs, I'll take them over any team. And I don't think any team scares me right now at all because I think they can match up against anybody. Tampa used to be the team that scared me, but they lost their whole third line, and they haven't really replaced it. So I think it's going to take them a while to really get back to the Tampa of old. And they just lost Kucherov for an extended period of time. So we'll see what happens with them. But as I said, I like my Islanders. I hope they go far. I hope they win the cup. It will be great. They're opening up a new arena. It'll be a great story. Shut up. But you know what? And like I said, it's only October 26th. So I'm not going to start overreacting over a 6-game stretch, especially when they don't play a home game for another month. So we'll see what happens by the All-Star break, the deadline, and then we'll take it from there.
Let me ask you, playoff bound?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
All right, Spare, what do you got?
As soon as they start to get rolling, I think they'll be fine.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to just touch upon something that you brought up, and Charlie also touched upon it. Like the first couple games, teams playing terrible. Like you look at 2 out of the last 3 years. I mean, and I technically have to go back 4 years at this point, but Washington Capitals, they lose in the second round of the 2017 playoffs, Game 7 against the Penguins. That was the year that everyone thought that was their last kick at the can. And going into that 2017-18 season, you could tell they were crushed mentally. It's like they didn't even care to be there. It took them a while to get going, but once they got going, what happened? They made a minor trade at the deadline that ended up paying off hugely for them because they won the cup in 2018. What also happened in 2018? The Lightning got swept by the Blue Jackets. Same thing happened to them going into the 18-19 season. They looked completely uninterested and crushed. What happened? They got their stuff together, played phenomenal hockey, and come the 2019 playoffs with a rematch against the Blue Jackets, the turning point for them in what would eventually wind up to be a Stanley Cup championship, that 5 overtime game. That, in my opinion, is where they exercise their demons. Now, why did I bring those 2 teams specifically up? You can't tell what a team is going to do for the season based on the first 5 to 10 games. You've got to give it at least 20 to 25 games to get a realistic grip on the team you're watching. That goes with every team in the league. So a team that might look terrible now, like you said, Mike, the Maple Leafs underperforming, I truly believe that their record is not indicative of their play at all. I saw something the other day, it might have been yesterday. They lead the league in specific offensive categories like slot shots, and I don't remember the other names that I saw of the categories, but for them to have the record they are, they're being snake bitten with scoring. That doesn't mean they're playing bad. So, yeah. But now to go to the Rangers. It's been a little bit of a mixed bag for me so far because they looked bad against Washington first game of the season. They looked very good the second and third period against Dallas. Could have won that game, but didn't. Montreal, I thought they just looked okay. I just remembered when they played Nashville, that was hands down their best game of the season so far. Ottawa, besides the last 5 minutes when they came back, they were getting outworked and outcoached the entire game. And that was a painful game to sit through until the very end. And against Calgary, it was the same thing. Although the one positive I'll take away from the Calgary game, they actually did pretty good on faceoffs. So I guess they just have to go back to stinking at faceoffs to win a game. But with the new acquisitions, Goodrow has been just okay so far outside of one game.
Mm-hmm.
Reeves has been, he's been Ryan Reeves. He hasn't really been great, hasn't really been bad. Dryden Hunt actually has been playing pretty well. he's filling that fourth line left wing spot beautifully, which is a spot that they've needed to address for probably 3 years now. And I think they finally have their guy. Just physical, gritty player, and can contribute on offense once in a while. That's something you want from a fourth line player. So that's been a good signing for them so far. And, well, I'm not going to get into the Kravtsov situation because I can go on a rant for like 15 minutes. But the one negative on the current state of the team roster construction-wise, Kakko gets hurt, and now there's a hole on right wing.
Yeah.
So,
and you're right about the Kravtsov situation. I could go on a rant with you, and we could possibly have an entire episode just based off of that. So we won't go into that. That'll be for another episode. But before we get into other sports, I just want to ask quickly. I know it's early on, but any Stanley Cup predictions of who might play each other? Not winners, but who might play each other?
Go ahead, Mike.
Man, okay.
Rangers winning it all. That's it.
That's what I'm talking about. That's why we're Bash Brothers.
Love it. Love the enthusiasm, man. Let's see.
Always.
I'm actually going to harp back on something I said before. The Avalanche, I think, finally break through because look at what they did the last few years. Heartbreaking loss, second round 2 years ago. And then I don't even know what happened to them last year. They just fell off a cliff games 3 through 6 against Vegas. It's like a flip switch and they all forgot how to play hockey. I still can't explain that one. But I think, like, going back 2 out of the last 3 Stanley Cup champions, they got their rear ends kicked in or their hearts broken, one of the two. They came back the next year finally ready to win. So in that aspect, I'm picking Colorado out of the West. In the East, this is where I think it gets a little tougher because, like Charlie said, Tampa lost a step because they basically lost an entire line that was crucial to them winning the last 2 years. Washington, they can't get out of the first round the last couple of years after winning. I don't want to predict Toronto because we all know the demons they have in the first round. But I will say this. If they make it out of the first round, I see Colorado, Toronto. Now, my actual pick, until Toronto gets out of the first round, is very tough. I might have to go Florida because I truly believe that they finally have a good team after all these years. And depending on their first 2 round matchups, I think they can make some noise, especially if you have Bobrovsky playing well. So my preliminary pick, Colorado versus Florida. There you go.
I like it. That's a good matchup. Chuck, what do you got?
Well, I'm a little upset. Mike didn't mention my Islanders and his
Don't do it. Don't do
reasoning.
it.
No. I'm not gonna pick them because
okay. I wanted to be safe.
I am very superstitious. We're not gonna talk much more about the Islanders, so don't worry about it.
Superstitious? All right, the Islanders are winning it all. The Islanders are winning it all.
Don't speak it into existence. No. I don't even want you joking about that, Mike.
Nah.
Mike,
don't do that to
if
me.
they somehow happens, I'm going to see your house.
Listen, and
don't do that. Don't do that, Mike.
I will let you give me the manos. I will let you give me the manos on that.
I'm just saying. As long as you tell your daughters we're gonna have a tea party after I whoop your ass. If the Islanders win somehow. All right? Pinkies up. All right?
I like that. All right. So Stanley Cup prediction. I'm gonna go a little off the grind here. In the West, I'm gonna take a team that's looked good so far, and I like what they did this offseason. Former Stanley Cup champion, St. Louis Blues.
Okay.
That's what I like in the West. And I like this because, like I just said, a team that's won, they could also roll out 4 lines. They got the veteran leadership in O'Reilly and Shen and Tarasenko. They picked up your guy in Butch. The key for them will be Jordan Binnington, getting back to what he was during that Stanley Cup run. So I really like the Blues. I like how they replaced the loss of Pietrangelo on the back end. They got Krug. They got Parayko. Justin Falk has revived his career.
He really has.
Now for the Eastern Conference, and they have a great head coach also. Eastern Conference. Now, I'm going to take a team that's undefeated right now, and it's not Florida, but the Carolina Hurricanes.
What?
I like Carolina. I'll tell you why. They're a very hard-nosed team, and I like what Rod Brindamore, Stanley Cup champion, has brought to that organization behind the bench. And they're a team that could score with ease. Sebastian Aho is a great player. So, and they're great on the back end. If Freddie Anderson can refine his form, I think they can and they play a good physical style of hockey, in which what you need in the playoffs. So I take Carolina and St. Louis. I didn't pick Colorado, and Mike, I'm going to tell you why, because you were just wondering why they went off the deep end. Yes, they're a very good offensively gifted team, but what's their problem? They can't shut down another team. And until they're able to show me that they could go out there and play that hard-nosed physical hockey like Vegas did to them to come back in that series last year, they're screwed. And I don't like Vegas because I think the injuries are going to hurt them, and they don't have the depth that they did in years past. So I'm going St. Louis and Carolina.
So I like the only pick I is a little shaky for me. I respect your reasoning. Is Carolina has done this before. Carolina has looked good in the beginning, and due to one or two injuries, has fallen off very quickly, where they're just inching their way into the playoffs. So I give you credit on that pick. They do look good early. I'm just very, I'm teeter-tottering on that one because it could go either way. But I think we've abused Manny long enough talking hockey with his limited knowledge.
I love it. Come on. Hold on. Before we go to the next topic, for every single one here, including you, Mike, who was your favorite player like watching?
Yes. So while you guys think, just because we sprung it on you, I'm gonna go first. My favorite player of all time is Joe Sakic. One of the best players to watch. He actually was the reason, and I think I mentioned this before. I was a Nordique fan, and then they turned into the Colorado Avalanche. I had a Joe Sakic was my first ever jersey. I still remember when the Colorado Avalanche won the Stanley Cup. I was not old enough to be in a bar, but I was still sitting in a bar, right at the bar, watching the game, late night. They win and just got doused with beer by my dad and his friends and everybody, and it was great. It was one of the best feelings in the world. So that he is one of the best players. Him and Forsberg together were like that 1-2 combo that you couldn't beat, right? It was just amazing to watch. But for me, Joe Sakic is my number one overall player that if by some chance, obviously wouldn't, but if he came back, he's like, to me, my Gretzky. Obviously, Wayne Gretzky is Wayne Gretzky, but to me, he is that Gretzky.
I gotta go with, so Wayne Gretzky, obviously everybody gonna either choose him. I liked him. I like Mario Lemieux. Okay. But one guy I actually liked, I seen him play one time. Former Dallas star Mike Modano.
Ooh, good pick. That's a good pick.
That was my guy. And plus he made an appearance in the Mighty Ducks. Never forget. But yeah, no, it's funny because I remember playing NHL, the video games and stuff growing up, and I will always choose the Dallas Stars, besides the Rangers, because my cousin will always pick the Rangers. And I will always pick the Dallas Stars with Mike Modano, and I used to go crazy with goals. And, I don't know, he just was my favorite player, and the fact that I was able to actually catch him at a game was awesome. So, got to go with Mike Modano for me.
I have to say, I appreciate your pick. Manny, I actually thought you were going to go for someone like Sean Avery because he emulates who you are on the ice with just going after everybody, throwing the manos. You know, he is you as a hockey player.
Well, I'll tell you this: if I was 6'8", forget it. Ain't nobody here touching me.
He wasn't. He was your size. Sean Avery was exactly your size and would throw hands with anybody. He did not care. He would go in your face and go, "Let's do this."
Sounds like my kind of player. I'm gonna have to look him up now. Thank you.
You got to watch Sean Avery fights. You got to watch him. All right, Mike, who do you got?
Okay, this is gonna be a little bit of a cop-out answer, but it's kind of a tie. And the only reason it's a tie is because of two players that play two totally different positions. And of course, one of them was on my team. I think you know where I'm going with the one on my team.
Henrik Lundqvist.
Absolutely. Guy gave his heart and soul for what year are we at right now? He last played. I'm just going to go 14 years off the top of my head. This guy carried a corpse of a Rangers team to the playoffs the first few years of his career. When the team was finally ready to contend, he played arguably some of the best hockey he's ever played. The run in 2014 pretty much validated how good he was as a goaltender. Now, of course, players age, their play goes downhill. That's life. The other player, Alex Ovechkin. I was a little bit of a late bloomer getting into hockey. I didn't get into until 2011. And by the time like Ovechkin, I would go back and watch highlights, and this guy was just a beast. He literally, like, some of his stat lines for games were like goal, assist, 12 shots, like 10 hits. He was just going off. Every game, there was something worth putting in the highlight film. And what else can you say? The guy is arguably the greatest goal scorer of all time. I truly believe he is. If he wouldn't have lost basically almost 2 seasons worth of games. Actually, no, it's over 2 seasons worth of games now because of all the lockout, 2 COVID shortened seasons, and the partially lockout shortened season 8 years ago. He legitimately might be at 800 goals right now, and he would arguably blow past Gretzky's record. And the guy can pass too. Let's not forget about that. With how physical of a player he is, with the shot ability and accuracy and power that he has, his ability to make plays and elevate players around him, like what can you possibly say that doesn't validate the guy as a bona fide first ballot Hall of Famer? Yeah, he shoots from the same place every time, but guess what? They still haven't figured out how to stop it 14 years later.
He's like that creative. That's the creative player you make in hockey. You make him physical.
Damn right.
Yep.
You make him accurate passer, great scorer. Like, I hate the guy because he don't play for the Rangers, but I got to give it to him. He is great.
Oh, absolutely. All right, Chuck, take us home on the hockey talk.
Well, this is tough, and I'm still debating it. I mean, I could sit here and, just, name the stars of the league, the Patrick Kanes, the Ovechkins. I thought Manny had a great one in Madonna.
Yeah.
And, you can look at the Pavel Datsyuks and everything, going back a couple of years. But I'm going to now – Connor McDavid is starting to become this player for me because I just think he's in a class above everybody else, without a doubt. Like, right now, he's on pace for like 200 plus points, which is nuts. The guy, speed, shooting, passing, he's the whole package. So McDavid could be the player by the end of the season. But one guy I always liked, and he's currently an Islander, is Zach Parise. And I think I like Parise because you know how you always tend to like a player that wears your number.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, Parise wore 9, and that was always my number, Little League, whatever it was. So I guess I just liked watching him, and he played on the Devils to start his career. So his games were always on TV for me. Like it was easily to watch him. This guy's out here scoring 40 goals, and he's like 5'11". So I just liked his play. almost won a Stanley Cup with the Devils, eliminated the Rangers, which was a big plus. And when he became a free agent, I really wanted him to come to the Islanders, but unfortunately they didn't get him. But now he's an Islander, and he wears number 11 now, which is also one of my numbers because I was born on November 9th, so 11-9. There you go. But I don't know. It was just somebody I always looked, and his dad used to play for the Islanders also. So it was a full circle kind of thing. So Parise was a guy that I always just watched. I liked his game, and hopefully I'll watch him raise a Stanley Cup in a couple of months.
Oh, I can't wait for him to get eliminated in the first round, so we can enjoy the same excitement you had when they eliminated the Rangers.
Thank
Come
you.
on,
Thank
you really think I'm gonna let you slide with that? Let's be honest here, man.
Listen. The only reason I said that was because, listen, in the group the other day, you said that Islander fans were quiet, and we were only like 4 games into the season. So
I mean, y'all
I was
there
there
all time last year, and you could blame Carl for that, Chuck. You may not talk as much, but you sneak this. You're like Steph. You throw those little sneak hits, and we're like, whoa. We missed the whole point. This man just threw a little curveball at us. Nah, you ain't slaughtered.
I caught it. Don't worry.
Listen, Manny.
He's being jumped right now by a bunch of Ranger fans. No, notice how it's not nice, right? Because when Mike's by himself with you and Carl, come on, man. You think you slick?
Manny. Carl is the hype man, and I need to get him onto the Islanders bandwagon for the whole season, because if they win a cup and I go to the parade, I need somewhere to crash afterwards. Because if the Islanders win a cup, I'm gonna be at least 5 bottles in. So afterwards, I'm gonna need a place to hang out for a little while to sober up. So I gotta make sure that Carl represents Elmont and we go strong. So this is just me trying to plan everything out.
All right.
I hear that. So we got baseball tonight. First game of the World Series. Let's go really quick. Who's your picks? Who do you have winning the World Series?
Well, I look at it like this, and I think this is a good comparison. A lot of people are comparing the Braves to that Nationals team. Started out slow, got hot at the right time, and now look like everything's just falling their way. I think the Braves have a lot of question marks with their rotation. McCullers isn't pitching for the series, so I'm going to take the Braves in 6.
Mike, who do you got?
I don't follow baseball, period. I am the last guy you should be asking.
Pick one.
Choose Atlanta. Just choose Atlanta. That's it.
All right, I'll go with Manny because he's a Rangers fan. I'll choose Atlanta.
All right.
Let's go. You already know who I'm going with.
I'm going Houston.
What?
And the reason why is because I got to go against Manny. But I got to pick Houston only because they have looked dominant in this playoffs. They have looked strong. And their pitching staff, 1 through 3, 1 through 4, whoever they're putting out there has looked good, especially that last game against Boston. They look good. Their offense, when they need their offense to step up, is stepping up. Again, I know there's always going to be that asterisk before, but if they can redeem themselves now and win it all, then we can say you won it the right way. But I still think I'm picking Astros in 5.
Wow. I know what you're doing, Mike. You're only choosing the Astros because this is kind of like if the Red Sox played against the Mets in the World Series, where Yankee fans got to be like, damn, do I want a parade in Queens or do I want Boston to raise that trophy again?
No, but
honestly, I'm going for umpires. I don't care. You think you slick because you're going against the Braves after what Chipper Jones has done for you for decades. All right? You think you're slick. And
I'm doing this because Eddie tried to call me out as a Mets fan, saying once the Braves are in, they're going to be like, oh, win for the Braves. They think I'm going to root for the Braves. I will never root for the Braves, and I hope they get smacked around today. Let's go Astros in 5.
I'm going with the Braves. I'll tell you this, though. I'm going with the Braves in 6. I would like 7 games, honestly, because I always like when the World Series goes down to the wire. Actually,
Yeah.
it makes it much better. But if somehow, all right, Carl, if somehow the
There
Astros,
are no ifs.
there are ifs. Burn the shirt, right, right, Greg? So if the Astros win, I say kudos to them as a team, and shout out to Dusty Baker for what he has done, being thrown into the Lions den. You know, this is like what, his third team he had to deal with something like this. Let's not forget when he was with the Giants with Barry Bonds and the whole steroid thing.
Did
You
he ever
know,
win? Did Dusty
No.
ever win a championship? No, this would be his first.
I am, correct me if I'm wrong. You can fact check me, but I know he went to the World Series with the Giants
But I don't
when
think
they
they won.
lost. But no, they did not win. I don't believe he has a chip.
I think this
So-
would be his first as a manager, his first World Series.
He's got one as a player. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, if he went, okay, yeah. If he wins, it'll be as a manager. All right. So, you know, shout out to Dusty Baker, who's doing a phenomenal job, honestly. But go Braves. Freddie Freeman for MVP, baby. Let's go.
He's been
Manny,
on
I'm so
fire.
glad. I'm so glad you said that. Ready for this hot take?
Oh,
If the
no.
Braves win, it will secure Freddie Freeman a spot in the Hall of Fame.
Wow.
I like that. I like that.
it. I like it.
That's not a hot take. That's well deserved. Screw
That is
that.
well deserved.
Yes.
And I
Thank
have
you.
to tell
Thank you.
I have to tell you, as a Mets fan, I hate playing against him because he's that good. So I appreciate his talent because he is that good that when he comes up to the plate as a Mets fan, I'm on the edge of my seat. As exciting as a sports fan to see what he does, but as a Mets fan going, damn, here we go again. So he is an amazing player. Huh?
I enjoy that.
I know you do because you hate the Mets, but that's okay. So I don't know if you're familiar with this, Spare. I know Charlie is. We come to the end of the show, and at the end of the show, Manny Manos has done his hands of the week, and we've made it a segment. And he said he has hot tamales today for his hands. Of the week, so he wants to go last, so I'm gonna let him go last. So Sparacino, who is your hands of the week? Who gets those hands for being terrible, whether it's an organization, a player, a team, a sport?
I think we can all agree that it should be the Blackhawks this week.
Okay.
I mean,
Right.
I'm not going to go into it all again because we basically went over it for like 15 minutes earlier. So well-deserved hands of the week. Put them up.
Nice. Charlie, what do you got?
I was gonna say the Blackhawks too, but I don't want to steal Mike's thunder. I could say the Jets, but no, because they're whatever.
We're gonna
My
have a
hands
whole
are
show about
Flacco.
that.
Joe Flacco.
It could be
My
Shane
son, I can't
Falco.
wait.
It don't matter.
I think my hands of the week is gonna go to Manny, just because he came in here with his whole Rangers rhetoric, trashing my team,
Oh.
and they haven't even played each other yet. So I don't know what he has over my Islanders. It's a new season.
Oh, this is going in the group chat right now.
I mean, we could link up, all of us, and watch the game together. You can get
No, I
calls.
can't. I can't.
You can
I
get whatever
can't.
fans
See, he's
with.
I
making
have to sit home
excuses
to watch
already.
games.
You
I
exactly.
have to sit home to watch games.
My man giving me hands of the week, and he can't even hang out with us. And I even told him to bring reinforcements, not just call. Bring
No,
a whole bunch of.
I do. No, I respect what Charlie's saying about he can't watch the game with others. He has to be in the zone, right?
Yes.
We all get in this. Like for me, when I watch the Rangers, to me every game feels like a playoff game, right? I have to watch because I analyze their defense, their offense, their goalie, the lineups. I respect that. I'm that way when it comes to the Jets. People invite me to go out to watch the Jets. Why? So I can get drunk and cry because they suck? No, I want to be in my own house on my couch so I can flip channels and watch Friends because I'm so tired of watching them lose. So I understand exactly what you mean, and he doesn't want to cry in front of us when the Rangers beat them.
Nah,
So I
Charlie,
understand it,
Exactly.
Charlie, send the address. It's all right. We can pull up.
Charlie.
I could bring the girls and play with your daughter, bro. Trust me.
That's
No,
right. It could
I
be tea time.
I can't. I have to be by myself because I yell, I throw, I get angry.
Welcome
I'll
to
tell
my
you,
life.
one day I'm gonna get so mad that I will crack my iPhone in half. Because I sit there and I go like this and I start bending it, and one day it's just gonna snap.
I hope you
think.
have insurance. I hope you have
I
insurance.
hope so too. I hope
I'm
so.
So I'm gonna give you my hands of the week, and it's gonna come off a little different because I'm not in any of these NBA talks or any of these NBA chats, and I really don't talk NBA besides the Knicks will always beat the Celtics. But my hands of the week go to the Lakers organization. The way they have imploded within the first couple of games, they have shown what the media has represented over the last couple of months when they have been signing some of these players. And it's showing that there is no camaraderie. It is showing that this is going to happen more. I'm just waiting for when Russell Westbrook turns around and says, why am I not getting the ball enough? I'm waiting for LeBron to try to take over, and everybody else is like, I'm right here, and he's getting triple teamed and still doesn't pass the ball. I'm waiting for it to implode even more, and I'm going to sit back with my popcorn and enjoy it, because what you got was the taste of the pay-per-view, which will be the Lakers organization this year. What you saw from AD and Dwight Howard on the bench was like Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder facing off at a weigh-in, waiting for the pay-per-view main event, because the main event will be the Lakers imploding this year. Not to mention, they just don't look good together. There's no chemistry. You had Russell Westbrook and AD go for 3 for like 40. They were dropping bricks. They could have built a house. It's not going to help them win championships. So the Lakers organization, to you Laker fans, especially you, Anthony Mullins, your team gets the hands of the week for your abysmal camaraderie.
Mike with the brass balls, because the Wolves are coming for you now. They're coming.
Mike, I would do a mic drop right now, but this mic was worth a lot of money, so I won't.
Wow.
Great. Those are great. First off, before I go on mine, I just want to shout out, thank you, Michael. Thank you, Chuck. Mike, for covering the beginning. Appreciate you guys coming on as always. Plenty of more hockey talk. I'll try to learn more, so we can definitely talk.
I'll give you an encyclopedia.
Nah, I'm good. I got Google. But so my hands for the week. Originally I had Joe Harris. But screw him for the whole year, Eric. That's all I'm gonna say. My hands of the week is gonna go to Carl Coulange.
Ooh.
Now let me tell you why it's going to Carl Coulange. EP, over the weekend during Football Sunday, I believe on the Sunday show, he comes in and calls me out, says I'm a fraud because I make biased picks. Biased picks because I pick my team to win? I mean, Raiders versus the Bears. You really chose the Bears to beat the Raiders? No. I've chosen teams that I don't even root for. I've rooted against the Chargers. I've rooted against the Chiefs. But I've also picked them to win. Yet, according to Mike earlier, I'm still leading in the NFL picks. So again, me as a fraud, you're batting against me. You're calling me this. You're trying to assassinate my character like I am Kyrie Irving and you are Stephen A. Smith. Well, news to you, I am vaccinated and I'm here to play. So Carl Coulange, you can catch these hands of the week. I'll pull up to Elmont. I'll make sure the construction in Islander Stadium is delayed even further, so Chuck is not able to go. See, look, now you brought her when I'm going on my rant. I gotta be respectful.
He's waiting for it. No, she don't know these words yet. It's okay.
I was gonna curse. I can't do that.
It's okay, you can. Look.
No, because your wife is gonna kill me.
No, go.
Fuck you, Carl. Catch these hands of the week. And I'll see you tomorrow because I'm pulling up on the logs. I got some inside information. So let me tell you again, Carl, I'm winning the NFL picks the entire season. I am leading, even though I had a bunch of losses this week in picks alone, yet I still have 47 wins. So don't you dare try to assassinate my character. I keep that same energy. And you think you also slick with the baptism today. You post only your boy Jaylen Brown, but don't post other people's teams, other players that did some posterizers. Like Markkinen yesterday against Jokic as the first player of the game. That was worse than what Jaylen Brown did. So fuck the Celtics, fuck the Islanders, go Yankees, go Rangers, go Braves, go Padres, go White Sox, and go Raiders. I'm out.
Know. I think me and Manny are gonna be, throwing some hands because people are gonna be coming after us this week, and I like it. I like it because that's what the fan zone is all about. Emotions. That is what the fan zone is all about. When you call us out, we don't go back and just sit there and listen. We step to the front of the Coliseum and say, welcome, enter our zone, because we are the fan zone. So, Carl, I hope you heard that. Laker Nation, I hope you heard me. Prove me wrong.
Sith Nation
this year.
Dark side all day.
I think Manny had the bar of the week where he was like, I'm vaccinated so I could play. That is the bar of maybe the year, possibly.
Gonna be a
that needs to be on a t-shirt. That has to be.
If there's no clips pulled from this week, similar to what Ziggy did last week, and shout out to Ziggs on his rant of the Giants. That was one of the best takes on the Giants I have ever heard, and he was spot on everything. So just like he spoke football where nobody thought he would, I'm coming with the Laker Nation, calling you out as a team for what you've been doing so far.
Wait, Mike, real quick, because I just remembered. I do have other hands of the week.
Ooh.
The NFL referees and the New England Patriots. And let me explain why. A quarterback gets shoved in the NFL, flag, 15 yards, roughing the passer, so on. But it's only the elite guys, the Kyler Murrays, the Tom Bradys, the Mahomes, and you know what I mean? I watched Zach Wilson take a late hit to his legs. Now, apparently the rule is, and I don't necessarily agree with it, but these are the rules. If you hit the quarterback below the knees, it's a flag, roughing the passer. So when Matthew Judon hit Zach Wilson in the knees, why was nothing called? Why was there no flag? So the NFL is very sketchy when it comes to their quarterbacks, and it's not consistent at all. So screw the NFL, screw Roger Goodell, screw the Patriots, and screw
how I feel when Chuck. Now you know how I feel when Derek Carr gets hit and no penalties are given.
You mean Derek Carr?
Derek Carr, put some respect, my guy.
With that being said, you've heard our hands of the week. You've heard our NHL take. You heard who we think, or I think I'm on an island by myself, but you heard who we think might be winning the World Series. I say, let's go Astros. Everybody else says, let's go Braves. But you also know that the NHL season is back, meaning my contributors are back. And that's Michael Sparacino, Chuck Baldy, who are going to be here all season, letting you know everything about hockey. And we got to bring Andrew on next time. Andrew Vanek from the Andrew Vanek Show. Please come on.
Forget about Andrew.
Because we want to know what you have to say about hockey as well. And maybe by the end of all this, when we talk more hockey, Manny will finally get to see a game. Let's hope. It's only been a week and a half, so he still has a full season ahead of him. But we are the Fan Zone. I am Mike Phillips. You see my fellow Bash brother Manny. Thank you, Mike Sparacino. Thank you, Chuck. Appreciate you both. We will be seeing you soon.